Have you ever really stopped to think about the power you hold? Just with your everyday choices.
Mhm.
Where you spend your money, I mean.
Yeah.
It's like casting a vote, really, whether we think about it that way or not. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really compelling, real-world example of that power. There's this big retail boycott making waves right now.
Mhm.
So our mission here is to unpack what's going on, the who, what, why, look at the different motivations, and crucially, see what kind of measurable impact it's actually having. We're basing this all on the source material we've gathered.
Right.
And the core action is pretty straightforward. A call to avoid shopping at Target, the big retailer, for one specific week. That's June 2025.
Yeah, and what's really striking, I think, is how these sort of grassroots efforts can catch fire so quickly. It moves from maybe general unhappiness to these very targeted economic actions.
Exactly. Designed to influence what companies do. It
Yeah.
said a lot about maybe shifting power dynamics.
Yes.
So let's get into the specifics of this latest boycott. What are the key details? The timing. First off, it's June 3rd to June 9th, 2025. A full week.
A full 7 days, yeah. And the group organizing it, the People's Union USA, they're quite open about it. The leader, John Schwartz, he's been vocal.
Right, he had that Instagram message. I think I saw that. It was something like, take the week to spread the word, no more Target.
We don't need Target. We don't have to shop at Target. That's the gist.
And then the call to action. Shop locally and independently. And it's time that people teach a corporation a lesson. That bit about shifting to local independent shops. That feels like an important part of the strategy, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It broadens the message beyond just not shopping at Target to actively supporting alternatives. And, looking at the context, this fits a pattern for the People's Union.
How so?
Well, the sources we looked at showed this isn't like their first major protest like this. They've gone after other big names before: Walmart, Amazon, Nestle, General Mills, too.
Okay, so they have a track record.
Exactly. A history of using consumer spending, basically, as a tool for accountability.
That's interesting. And what's quite notable about this campaign, specifically against Target, is what Schwartz himself said about the motivation. He made a point that it isn't just about diversity, equity, and inclusion rollbacks.
Yeah.
DEI stuff, which has definitely fueled other movements lately.
Right. He actually told the Arizona Republic, and this is quite direct, that the group's mission is to hold corporations and corrupt systems accountable,
Okay.
not with violence or empty promises, but with the one thing that actually affects them, the money we spend. So it's a very clear economic pressure strategy.
Very direct. But, despite that broader framing, the timing is pretty specific, isn't it? This
Yeah.
boycott call comes just, a few months after Target announced it was ending some DEI programs?
That's the connection people are making, yeah.
Things like support for Black-owned businesses, some internal advancement programs. So even if the organizers say it's broader, how do the sources suggest that DEI connection is playing into it? Does it give the boycott more energy? Maybe.
That's a really good point, because intentions and perceptions can be two different things, right? While the People's Union might frame it broadly, corporate accountability, the recent Target decisions on DEI definitely act as a catalyst.
Makes sense.
It gives people a very current, very concrete reason to join in, even if their personal motivation isn't exactly the same as the organizer's overall mission. That alignment, whether it's planned or just happens, can really boost a movement.
And Target specifically seems to be facing a lot of this lately. It's not just this one action. Our sources mentioned a whole pattern of boycotts just this year.
Yeah, quite a few.
Like there was one during Black History Month, started February 1st, led by activists in Minnesota.
I remember reading about that one.
And then the Latino Freeze campaign, encouraging Latino communities to cut back spending. And also a 40-day boycott during Lent, led by Black church leaders. That ended mid-April.
So, yeah, multiple waves of consumer pressure hitting them. It's not an isolated incident.
Definitely not. And to really understand the potential impact, we need a sense of target size, right?
Absolutely. Context is key. The sources give one example: New York State. Target has 107 stores just in New York.
Wow, 107.
Yeah, mostly around the big population centers: Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, Buffalo, places like that. So you get a picture of how embedded they are. They're everywhere.
Okay, so they're huge. Given that, What does all this consumer action actually do to their bottom line? Are we seeing real financial consequences?
Well, this is where it gets interesting because, yes, the data suggests it is having an effect, and Target itself has even acknowledged the impact of, quote, national boycotts in their financial filings.
They have. Okay. So what are the numbers telling us?
Well, for starters, sales were down 2.8% in the first quarter of fiscal year 2024.
Okay, nearly 3%.
And foot traffic, that's a big one. Placer.ai data showed foot traffic dropped 9.5% just in February 2025.
Almost 10% in 1 month. That's significant.
It is, and Newsweek had another data point. Store visits were down 7.9% year over year for the week ending March 31st.
So it's not just a blip. It seems sustained.
It does, and then you look at their stock price. It hit a 5-year low in April, $94 a share. That's down quite a bit from $142 back in January.
Wow, $142 down to $94.
Yeah. So you put all that together, falling sales, fewer people in stores, stock price dropping, it really paints a picture. It suggests that this kind of sustained consumer resistance, it is hitting them financially. It's measurable.
It really shows that vote with your wallet idea can have teeth, especially when it's organized like this.
Definitely. It creates real pressure, probably impacts investor views, maybe forces them to rethink things internally.
So where does this leave things? This specific boycott is set to end June 9th. What happens after that?
Well, according to the sources, the People's Union hasn't said they're stopping. They haven't ruled out doing more in the future. It sounds like they see this as an ongoing tactic.
An ongoing strategy.
Exactly. Schwartz basically said they plan to keep using economic protest. Holding corporations accountable is the goal. He specifically mentioned companies cutting DEI or consolidating market power in ways that hurt local businesses.
Right, connecting back to that shop local message.
Precisely. So it suggests this isn't just a one-off week of action for them. It's part of a bigger, longer-term push to influence how these big companies operate.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. Our deep dive today really highlights how consumer action, these organized economic protests, are being used very deliberately to try and change corporate behavior. And the numbers we looked at for Target show that these actions, well, they could have a real, measurable financial impact, even on massive retailers.
Yeah, the data seems pretty clear on that front.
So it leaves you with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? Given that consumer boycotts can have this kind of impact, what responsibility do individual shoppers like you have in shaping what corporations do? And maybe how sustainable is this kind of economic protest as a tool for change in the long run?
That's definitely something to mull over next time you're deciding where to shop.